Today, our passage is of the fall of Adam and Eve. The fall. I'm sure you've heard a lot of sermons on the fall, or maybe even went to Bible studies on the fall, or you've watched TV and you've seen many interpretations of the fall of Adam and Eve. And so, I hope that today's conversation, today's sermon on Adam and Eve gives us a little bit of an understanding of sin that we can take home with us. You know, we're all sitting in our homes today. We're all sitting with our families. We're all stuck in these bubbles or these pods or these groups where we are constantly with the same people. And relationships are being tested. And this is the perfect time to talk about the fall. You know, a lot of people put blame on Eve. You know, she was the one who grabbed the apple. She was the one who ate it. You know, the fall is all Eve's fault, right? But Adam ate of that apple too. That Adam was there. He wasn't just a passive person. He wasn't somewhere else and Eve grabbed that apple and ran to him and said, "Try this," and he didn't know where it came from and he ate it. No, he was there. He ate of that apple just as willing as Eve did. He didn't stop her. He ate it. And too often, we don't talk about that part of this passage. Now, I'm not trying to start some feminist sermon about Adam and Eve, but I want us to think about taking away the gender and taking away who ate first, this dichotomy of this relationship. One person in this relationship does something that the other knows is wrong, that the other knows could put a rift between this person and God, right? And not only are they a willing observant of this, they are a willing participant of this. And this is important. Because this, my friends, is the sin that gets us all. You know, most of us are rule followers, right? We get it. We don't commit murder, right? Everybody understands that's bad. We don't go out and steal readily from each other. Everybody gets that that's bad, right? And the rules, you know, most people follow the rules of the road. Otherwise, we'd have way more accidents than we do. As citizens of this world, we understand that participating in the rules is good. But it's really easy to fall in the trap of relationship sin. And what I mean by that is allowing for or participating in the sins of those who are closest to us. Right? If we have a relative who is a heavy smoker, how often of us say, "No, you shouldn't smoke"? Heck, if they ask us to buy them cigarettes, do we participate in their sinful behavior? And even if we want to say that cigarette smoking isn't sinful, it's bad for the body, right? And yet we participate in that. How many of us have relatives who are alcoholics, and yet we host weddings that are open bar and knowingly invite them? How many of us don't call out our family members out on lies or on bad behavior? How many of us willingly participate in that bad behavior for relationship? That, my friends, is what our friend Adam is doing in this passage. He is willingly participating in and being aware of sin, not because of his relationship with God, but because of his relationship with Eve. He is allowing that relationship to dictate instead of the relationship with God to dictate. And this is the spiral, right, of abuse and of negativity and of sin that happens within our families. And I'm going to throw out some activities or maybe some feelings in this that aren't necessarily a big sin, but are still something that breaks relationship. You see, sin in the Bible is that which breaks relationship. That's which strains the relationship with God, that which strains our relationship with one another. Sin is not necessarily just breaking the Ten Commandments. Sin isn't just saying the word hell or a worse curse word. Sin isn't just saying, oh my God. Sin is not just committing adultery. Sin is not just coveting what your neighbors have. Sin is not just murdering people. Sin is what we do that breaks relationship, that breaks the relationship we have with God, and that hurts and hinders the relationships we have with one another. That is what sin is. Sin can be as small as anger, yelling out, right? And as large as breaking trust. Sin can be addictive behavior, be it addicted to drug or alcohol, but also addicted to television or addiction to food that stops us from having healthy and good relationships. Adam and Eve had a healthy and good relationship with God in the garden. They were able to know God. They were able to walk with the holy. And all of that changed when they did the one thing that God asked them not to do. Now, the predestined life of us Calvins would say, well, it was meant to be. But ever since that point, God and humans have been on this collision course of trying to mend this relationship. Jesus, his death on the cross for us, was a mend to this relationship. Through Jesus and through Jesus' death on the cross, through our relationship with Jesus, we are able to once again reap the benefits of walking with God. Not in the kingdom of earth, but in the kingdom of heaven. But until then, until the kingdom of heaven, we walk this earth. And we are called to work on our relationships. From the very beginning of our Genesis readings, all the way through to our Revelations, woven in our Bible is this struggle for humanity to once again be able to walk with God. And so, how do we do that, my friends? How do we allow for ourselves to have a strong enough relationship with God, a strong enough relationship with Jesus, that we are able to stand up and call out those who are choosing the wrong paths, instead of enabling and being participating in those choices. This is the tough part about being a Christian. Jesus, time and time again, tells people that, you know what, following me might put a rift between you and those you love. Why? Because we are called to put our relationship with God before our relationship with others. If Adam had done that in this passage, Adam should have said to Eve, wait, stop, don't do that. We don't want to ruin our relationship with God. It's too good here. God is good to us. We love our Creator. Let's find something else to eat. There's lots of other good things. But instead, he said, sure. He allowed this relationship with Eve to matter more. This, my friends, is where we get in trouble. How do we balance the life of being a Christian, of harvesting a relationship with God, and yet also managing all these relationships around us? How do we put God first and yet also acknowledge the love we have for others? And although this is hard, we do have a lot in our Bible that offers us guidance on how to do this. It starts with the life of Jesus and Jesus' teachings. It starts with our Luke passage today, which reminds us that we must forgive others. That in the forgiveness of forgiving others, we ourselves will be forgiven. We think that we need to not stir pots. We think in our relationships with our families and our loved ones that it's better that we don't bring up the behaviors. It's better if we just continue to allow. Oh, they're adults. They should make the decisions for themselves, right? And yet, when we offer a different way, it can cause an argument or two, I'm not going to lie. But when that other way is consistently offered, it leaves room for the change that needs to happen. It leaves room for the grace of God to work. It leaves room for the person to choose something different, to walk away from the tree and towards God. We are called as Christians to keep that relationship with God going and to extend it to others. And by keeping this relationship with God going, especially through Jesus' life and through Jesus' death and through the teachings of Jesus, we walk with God. We have the opportunity to show others how to walk with God. It is easier for us to say no to that apple. It is easier for us to say no to the world when we are right in relationship with God. In fact, actually, this is very important. I'm going to repeat it. When we have this right relationship with God, it is easy for us to live right in the world. Jesus offers us another way. Jesus offers us a real and intimate relationship with God one that empowers us, right? One that encourages us, one that gives us a way to live, a prescription, so that even in the bad times, even when we feel lost and alone, even when we're angry, even when this world just seems too overwhelming for us, we find a way to be in relationship with God. We find a way to push aside all the sins of this world so that we can stay walking with the holy. This week, I want you to examine your life. I want you to really be honest and true to yourself. Examine your relationships, not just with those closest to you, but also with God. Find one time when you don't allow this relationship of God to lead you, but you allow a relationship in this world to lead you. Be honest with yourself about that. Perhaps journal or pray over that and create a plan. A way to change that. You see, we need plans in our life. We need a way. We need to even maybe role play with ourselves a little bit about how we're going to confront or change this relationships. Because we've been in the relationships with the world, relationships with those around us, relationships with our families for our whole lives, for years. And they don't just change tomorrow. And they don't just change because we want to be with God and we say, yo, don't eat from that apple. Because we all know that if Adam had said to Eve, don't eat that apple, there may have been an argument. And we need to be prepared for that. You don't just stop somebody from being an alcoholic. You don't just stop somebody from having an addiction. You don't just stop yourselves from that. You don't just say one day, I'm not going to allow food to control my life. You don't just say one day, I'm no longer going to get angry. No. These, my friends, take time. And they take a plan. So I encourage you this week to think about that. To think about your plan. What is your Achilles heel? What is the thing that gets you in trouble? What is the person who gets you in trouble? What is it about your relationships here that are not healthy or not good, and how do you get them to a point where they are? Jesus offers us a way. Jesus shows us a way to live in community with others. And it starts with our Luke passage. Forgiveness. Forgiveness of ourselves, forgiveness of others, and a way to move forward. So go out this week, figuring out what needs to be worked on in your life, praying to God for strength and wisdom, and working on that relationship with God, and forgiving those around you. And rethinking the dynamics of Adam and Eve and how sin really easily creeps in to our world. Amen.